Welcome to the Generation Kids Daily Devo podcast, where we move from wonder to worship, looking for God at work in the world around us, ready to ask the tough questions and discover what His Word has to say to us. Today's episode is titled, Jesus, the Gentle Man, and it comes from me, Casey Taylor. Have you ever met someone who seemed to have a drive in them to achieve that caused them to seemingly never stop working and working and working to get better, get smarter, or to learn more and more so that they could assure themselves that they wouldn't fail at whatever they were training to do? This is how we tell our kids that they have to work if they want to go pro or be something big someday, to commit days, weeks, months, and years towards a goal and give everything that they have until they make it happen. The people who live this way are sometimes so incredibly inspiring, with a mentality that never allows them to quit or to admit defeat. They have to strive and work and practice and fight to win. We tend to admire these people, but there is a downside to this, and we need to be open and honest about it. Whether we like it or not, we have limitations, and not everyone is made with the physical, mental, or circumstantial ability to accomplish all that they set out in their minds to do.
I can't do that.
It's not because they don't want it enough or because they don't care enough. Sometimes they care too much. But not everything we set our minds to do is something that God has or will equip us to do. Sometimes what we want, we can't have, even if we work really hard for it. But do you want to hear the good news?
Of course.
God has plans for your life, and His plans aren't to exhaust and frustrate you.
Whew.
His plans are to show you that following Him looks a lot less like earning and a lot more like humbly and peacefully submitting our lives to the Father that He might do through us more by way of the Spirit working in and through us than we could do with years of focused and intense effort towards some goal that we might have. This is what Jesus came and taught, that the effort and willpower of all who sought to follow the law, the rules and regulations that were designed to help God's people stay in right standing with Him, weren't the thing that would put them where they wanted to be, in that right standing with the Father.
It's not the same.
But instead, by accepting that on our own, even with all the effort we might give, and all the sacrifices that we might make, and all the hard work that we might put in, that it's still not enough. He wasn't saying that our effort and our hopes were pointless, however. They were just misguided. They just needed to be simplified.
Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Matthew 11:29-30.
Jesus wanted for all those hearing His words then, and for you hearing His words now, to know that He doesn't expect you to be perfect. He isn't waiting for you to fail to pounce on you. In fact, what He tells us is that He is the embodiment, which means the visual, physical example of the fruit of the Spirit that we're looking at today, gentleness. And His call on our lives, otherwise known as the yoke, is to remain humble and gentle towards ourselves and others. Which means that we can't be people who boast about our goodness, because we also realize that we'll fail. And also we realize that even though we will and have failed, that Jesus has accomplished for us all that we could not accomplish for ourselves. This is meant to generate gratitude inside of us, but also humility and gentleness in us, and through us, that we might show others that the only way to experience the fullness of God through Jesus is not to get everything right and to never make mistakes, but to acknowledge that we will make mistakes, but that Jesus was the perfection that we needed when we couldn't achieve that perfection with our own actions. If Jesus, who was perfect and who was able to keep all of God's commandments, remained humble before God the Father, how much more should we be humbled, kind, and gentle as we encourage others towards Jesus, or as we consider the shortcomings of our own actions? Sometimes the way of Jesus is the exact opposite of what we might imagine. We imagine our need for perfection and excellence in our performance, while He tells us to take a deep breath and trust in His perfection, to humbly follow Him instead of trying to earn anything from God. When the Israelites heard that Jesus was coming, they prepared for Him to come and to lead them towards a military victory that would see them take the place over all the other people as God's chosen people, thinking that He would be more like a war general than a meek and humble servant ready to show them the way of God through gentleness. And instead of arriving on a chariot of fire, He showed up riding on a donkey, a gentle king whose burden for living and salvation wasn't based on works, it was based on faith. His mission wasn't a battle for land, but a battle for the hearts of men. And He is still extending that offer to me and to you, to humbly follow Him and to stop the striving. If He is gentle with us, we should be gentle with ourselves and with others, because He worked on our behalf to accomplish all that we couldn't, so that we could show ourselves and others the love and kindness His resurrection paid to offer.
Now it's time for
Today's Big Question!
Today's big question is, when you think of God and what He wants from us, do you imagine Him to be demanding or gentle? What can Jesus' words here in Matthew 11 teach us about what He's really like and about how we can approach God and how we are to follow Him? To follow Him into gentleness, we must first realize who it is that we're following and what He's not like to better understand who He is. Thanks for listening to the Generation Kids Daily Devo podcast. If you want to keep in touch with us on all our social media platforms, check out the links in the description. And if you'd like to help support us as we continue to create meaningful content for kids of all generations, please subscribe to our Patreon by visiting us at patreon.com/wearegenerationkids.